In this installment of Beyond the Trail, we once again return to the swamps of Florida to venture into what I've nicknamed the Skunk Ape Corridor, due to a history of Bigfoot sightings in the area. Joined by a host of other investigators and enthusiasts, the idea was simple: to stake out this barely 1 mile wide wildlife corridor that links to Central Florida's green swamp, spreading out in small teams and ultimately seeing what happens. Join us for this experiment. When it comes to wildlife, Florida is somewhat of a peculiar state. There seem to be few places that compare in North America in terms of habitat, as well as range of species found here, both native and invasive. There are also few places where habitat shifts so dramatically between suburban and wild. For example, you will see brand new cookie-cutter condominium neighborhoods directly across from treacherous swamps filled with local wildlife. With the continued population boom in Florida, these wild places are threatened more than ever due to this human expansion. If there are skunk apes or Bigfoot-like creatures in Florida, they too would logically be threatened by habitat loss like all the other species are. We've covered Florida extensively before on Beyond the Trail. This includes multiple outings to the wilderness of the Everglades and Big Cypress in southern Florida, as well as treks to the Green Swamp, also the Ocala National Forest, and even the wild areas of the Florida Panhandle. On a cross-Florida trek we did in early 2022, which took us from the Everglades all the way up to the Panhandle. As mentioned, we visited the Green Swamp in Central Florida, just northeast of Tampa. While we visited just one small corner of the swamp, I quickly realized how thick and impenetrable this place was. Not easily navigated or explored without truly knowing what you were doing. For that reason, while we were there, my friend Matt Larson of Central Florida Bigfoot and his companions showed us around. This was an area they were investigating quite often, and while I was there for only a short time, it was a place that intrigued me greatly, if nothing just for the scenery alone. In 2024, Matt was organizing a get-together of various Bigfoot investigators and enthusiasts to research one particular area that linked up to the Green Swamp. Called the Corridor, this is a narrow area that is barely 1 to 2 miles wide, wedged between developments and farmland, which serves as a choke point for wildlife moving from one area to another. If there are skunk apes here, then logically they should move through the corridor as well. There is a history of reports in the area which suggests this, at least anecdotally. Matt was bringing together a wide group of folks from various professional backgrounds and occupations, as well as various beliefs about Bigfoot. Believers, non-believers, flesh and blood, paranormal, and everything in between. In some ways, this trip would be a social experiment, if anything. We would be out in this corridor area for 3 nights, with plans for one of the nights to be a call to action, where we would spread out throughout the corridor in teams of 2 to cover as much ground as possible. Okay, so we're here in the corridor area, as it's being called. We've got a big camp out. A lot of folks. This is not usually got a lot of people. This is a lot more people than I would normally want to be in the woods with, but we've got a ton of people. The idea is we're going to be spreading out here in this corridor area and just kind of seeing what we can do. And there's been a lot of sightings and history in this area, so we'll get some video of Matt explaining it later in more detail. We got a crowd favorite in here. Good old Chewie. What's up, buddy? He's got the
tactical Chewie.
Wow, that's gonna be a shaky shot there. What's up, boss?
What do you say? Sweating.
Woo! Humidity season.
Different than the Northeast, I'll tell you that.
All right, well, here's my accommodations for the duration. Will be this little hammock.
Yeah, you get to travel, you don't have to bring anything.
We've got other campers real close by, tent set up, and then we're facing the woods here. So hypothetically, if anything comes from this direction, we should be able to look for it and see what's going on.
The thing about the corridor is it's a wildlife corridor, and if you look at Florida, all the major parks and forests are connected through these wildlife corridors. Brian and I have spent 2 years kayak and e-bikes exploring these corridors, and for the most part, all the encroachment you probably saw coming in here, that the naysayers from Washington State and Oregon saying there can't be anything, there's a housing development right there. What they don't understand is the encroachment has not been in here for 100, 200 years, and therefore all the way back to the native people, right? I have a book on the table on the native people. I have a map on the table I encourage everyone to look at. What's interesting to me about the corridor is you have Hillsborough River State Park there, and then you have wetlands and swift mud, and then all of a sudden this area of the swamp is all of a sudden Hillsborough River State Park again. Why would that be under the strongest jurisdiction under the state and the stiffest penalties? As a Bigfoot on the brain, your mind starts going to conspiracy theory. And if you all know me, I try not to go there. I work at News Channel 8. I try to be as straight up as possible. But yeah, this is a half mile from a Publix. I brought you here because it's the quickest way to the river point. If I hadn't done a number on my knee right here, the plan was Brian and I were going to bring in kayaks 2-3 days before. We were going to bring them down to the Max Powers campground, which is really an alligator mating location. I was doing the solo thing when I first started. I was 6 months into it. Something happened to me. I have not been solo since, and it happened at Morse Bridge Road campground, right back here, a mile and a half south on the Bunny Trail. It's a little trail that you take your family on, and it comes around, it comes back. And I was on there, and I had wood knocks, I had footprints, I saw something that looked like a nest. I shot the nest. I'll show you the photos. I got something that's the best. I call it the best pareidolia in the world because it's sharp, but it still looks like a profile of a Bigfoot head to me. But I'm not claiming Bigfoot. I'm just saying, because I've seen good pareidolia before, but I've never seen it so sharp. And this one's actually sharp. You can see stuff. That happened a mile south of here. So what Brian and I are seeing working this corridor is the encroachment can't go this way. It can't come in anymore from that way. There's more housing on the other side of the river. If you drive around, you have Hillsborough River State Park and a couple of bike parks and stuff. And housing. On this side, not so much.
Brian and Chewie, you guys ready?
Ready?
Chewie, you ready?
He's
totally ready. So we're here, we're gonna go out into the swamp. This is the first night. We're just gonna kind of do a preliminary hike. We're gonna really set up the next few days and actually get people staked out and camped out in different areas. But this is just an attempt to kind of get out into the swamp and get a feel for it.
know which way he wants to go.
What's up, guys? We are heading out for a preliminary little night hike. Now, Max, I know you've been out here before. So
I have.
You've kind of had some experience out here.
I have, yeah. Just like Matt and I did the whole area, so not just this park, but the other spots that he mentioned earlier. Sure. And I think if you look at his theory, it's pretty valid. This is a choke point.
Definitely.
He said fish in a barrel. I had actually said it's like hunting at the end of a funnel, but it is. it's a narrower area. There's less to cover, and a big group I think is going to be awesome out here.
Yeah,
so.
definitely be interesting. Now, Erik, you know, you're kind of new to this subject. You've been out here before, though, with Matt and with Max here, right?
Yep.
You've obviously been up with us in the Adirondacks, but what are you kind of looking forward to with this trek here?
I'm actually, you know, because I am new to the subject, I've always found it interesting. I'm mostly interested in speaking to everybody that's here and kind of just learning and hearing about all the different kind of theories and techniques that people are using to try to find something.
Yeah. How's it going, man?
Good. What's up?
So, have you been here to the corridor?
I have not been to the location we're here today, but I've been to the north a couple of times with Matt and Tim T and Ron and Brian. So yeah, I've been down a couple of times.
Awesome.
And,
what are you looking forward to with this excursion?
listening to the different ideas that everybody has, kind of compared to what we have, you know, up north.
Sure.
Looking at the different terrains and vegetation and stuff. So kind of just picking everybody's brain, see what we got, throwing some of my ideas out and see what they like. You know, you and I have been out before, and
of course,
some of the UV stuff that we've done, and
awesome, yeah.
You know, just running some of the therms and just see what we get. You know, and
definitely
see if we get stuff. You know, I mean, north of here, we know we got the rhesus monkeys that are loose. Right. You know, we've talked to some other folks about, you know, possibly some of the apes, you know, being out that could have been released from, you know, zoos or traders or something like that could be, you know, now an invasive in the area, not always just Bigfoot or swamp ape. But, you know, we've talked to some of the locals and they've had some sightings, so it'd be interesting to see what we're going to come across, you know.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, you know, it's good to get back out with the guys and a little different than the Northeast that what we're used to.
Oh yeah, it's a jungle out here compared to what you and I are used to.
Yep.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
No problem, brother.
Got Brian, of course. He's no stranger to the program here. What are you excited for, man, being down here with this expedition?
I think personally for me is investigating in a different terrain than what I'm used to in the Northeast.
Yeah.
All the different noises you have to get used to. Just adapting to everything new now. So I like this, doing what we're doing now, getting out, getting a lay of the land. But I like it. Very interesting.
Chewie's excited too, right?
Chewie is the star.
Chewie.
He is raring to go.
So Mike, just want to kind of pick your brain a bit here. What are you kind of looking forward to? Have you been out to this area before? And you know, what are you kind of looking forward to in this expedition?
I think it's interesting. I haven't been out in this spot. I've been open to a little bit more wide open spots in the green swamp, but it is a kind of a strategic spot.
Yeah.
Just because we do have these choke points over here, so whatever animal activity or potential squad activity, it's clearly going to be pushed through these choke points. We do have a lot of subdivisions not too far from here. We have some cattle lands. But this unique choke point that's coming through here, basically creating any type of movement that's landing from one area to the next. I mean, this is the only spot they're going to be coming from. So it's a good spot to be. I mean, everything's going to be jam-packed in this one particular area. So hopefully we should have at least some animal activity if we find that. So hopefully we'll find something. I hear something or see some animal activity or
crossed, right?
Or even some good star watching tonight.
So this is your first time really out on one of these kind of Bigfooting kind of trips. Do you have any thoughts or any ideas of kind of what you're expecting or what it's going to be like?
Hold on real quick, we got a fork right here.
Yeah, so as far as expectations, no expectations really. I think this is a great group. I think that we're going to find some interesting stuff. So I have a good feeling about the energy going into this, but as far as expectations, nothing. But I think that we're in a good area to definitely see some stuff. So yeah, fingers crossed for sure.
Appreciate it, bro.
Absolutely.
So what's going on, man? Just asking everyone kind of their initial impressions, but as somebody that's kind of been to this area before, what are you expecting with kind of a big expedition like this?
I think what it really, to tell you the truth, is just better saturation within the area. I think what we're going to do is by spreading out and being able to cover more territory and coordinate it on a plot, on the map, it's going to give us definitely a better saturation, because when we've been out here before, it's been in pieces, and we've never been able to tie everything together. So ultimately, I think the group that we have and all the experience and everybody's, it's going to be able to at least identify different opportunities as well as maybe evidence, and we're going to be able to draw on those experiences and those strengths that people have.
Instead of us being too close to each other on the sides, that way we're like, what is that, what is that? I'm going to shoot up here, that way you guys got a gap. So you're going to be heading through here, which connects to some, looks like a trail activity. There's something that runs all the way through here, it looks like. I'm going to punch up here. There's a trail that marks out, and then I'm going to try to, I think we could probably all end up maybe over here, potentially. I'm not sure how far this fork that we're at right now
Right here
is going to go in.
It's on 3.
Thanks, dude.
All right, so we've split up into 3 groups. We've got 2 guys going down a different trail, 5 or 6 people going down the other trail, myself, Erik, Mike, and Brian and Chewie going down this trail. We're going to kind of see where it takes us up here. Side trail here, Brian, huh?
Yeah.
Looks like the trail is basically taken out by a tree.
Big tree, dude.
I heard it. What'd you hear? It was like a howl.
Yeah.
Kinda,
yeah. Bird off.
Could be an owl, yeah.
That was loud.
You have your headphones on, right?
Yeah.
So you're able to hear a lot better than we are, probably.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm only listening to the left channel through the shotgun so that I can hear the ambient noise better than last time. Because you guys were like, what direction it come from? I'm like, I have no idea.
Nice. So Mike, you got the Merlin app running right now?
Yeah.
That helps identifying bird calls, right?
That's correct. So we're running that right now. That's our GPS location and everything. If the blue dot comes up, it'll be a bird that pops up, but I think that's going to be frogs. So what we're seeing now, so we can see the audio as well as that's me talking.
Got a little spectrograph going on there.
Keep that therm on. We got coyotes around us. There's a pack of coyotes that are right behind us. We have 2 creatures that were on the trail dead ahead that were giving us this weird eye movement, eye shine. They were like peeking behind trees. They were low to the ground, whatever it was, but it was 2 of them, and the way they were like checking us out was super creepy. The woods are coming alive right now.
We keep going this way, or should we go back?
No, we got to keep trucking forward. Let's chill here for a minute.
As myself and Team 1 trudged along in the woods, Mike and Christian contacted us, asking if we had been approaching them, which we were not, as we were nowhere close to their position at all. So we decided after this to link up with them. What the heck is going on?
Just come on, dude.
Dude,
We just had craziness, non-stop, man. We had a pack of coyotes chiming off like 300 yards. We came across 2 pigs. The first wild incident when him and I were coming across, right when this trail right when this trail intersects back towards this field, him and I came across, all of a sudden we hear what sounded like somebody walking in the woods right beside us. It's really thick scrub.
Yeah.
Bunch of quail took off. And when it sounded like a dude walking in the bushes, and we heard, as it was walking away, and we laughed every time, dude. You can't do it and not laugh. It's pretty funny.
But I thought it was you guys.
We thought it was you
like,
guys.
Oh,
we're like,
that's
here they
just
come.
them.
Here they come. They're coming up. Maybe we're like linking up. So we sat there for about 15 minutes, and we could hear this thing going truck, 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 and then what did it sound like?
It just made that noise, the mumbling noise, and I thought it was you guys from a distance because I couldn't make it out what it was saying.
It just sounded like mumbling, like somebody off in the distance, like having a conversation.
But it wasn't off. It wasn't that far. It was probably
it was
like
literally
like
100 feet from us.
Yeah,
and it was loud. We just walked into a wall of stink. If you guys get over here, you got to come check this out. You got to smell this for yourself.
Nobody came over. You guys were the only ones that made.
What the?
Oh, that was loud. Okay, got my therm on.
It's here. We had other animals fighting. The mumbling thing. I wish we could do it without.
That's so weird.
I wish we could do it without
Did you
laughing.
record any of that?
No, it caught us off guard.
Yeah.
We were literally
The
just
mumbling thing was very quick. Like it happened very suddenly. And it wasn't that far away. It was like right off the trail.
We were 100% convinced it was you guys.
Yeah.
Like it sounded like somebody having a conversation.
Freaking mosquito swamp in there.
It's actually it's not too bad over
Oh,
here.
we went right in the freaking zone of.
Get over here
bad.
real quick.
We poked around the area for a little while longer, but ultimately the woods quieted down quite a bit, and we headed back to camp for the night. The mumbling sounds Mike and Christian described would play a part in our second night out as well, but we will get to that later.
So, I'm Mike Ann. I go by Tactical Bigfoot Research. I got into this mess through Steve Coles, the Squatch detective. Steve does a lot of debunking. I come from a background of law enforcement and archaeology. So I look at things more on the scientific aspect and how we can data collect. So what I really want to go over today is some things that can really help you in the field. We're all pretty experienced in our different fields and our different shows and such. And I got a couple of techniques to help you when you're out in the field or when you're talking to an investigator. How a lot of my stuff got started, I carry a flashlight that is a multicolored flashlight. Blue, greens, reds, and ultraviolet. UV is my key for you guys down here in South Florida. It's great to find other funguses and other arachnids. It's also great for looking for hair. And we're going to get into some hair collection. But talking with Doug Hychek, I said, hey, you get all these hair things and stuff like that. Have you ever taken a look at it with UV light? UV light on certain animals, flying squirrels, possums here in the US, glow a pink just with UV light. In Australia, the marsupials there go to a teal. They found that big cats come up in a yellow in the UV spectrum. There are some animals that see in the UV spectrum. So I got with him one night and said, hey, try this, but try using your camera filter. And from that, we noticed that some of the samples he had illuminated a pink. Now we're working on collecting some hair. How many folks have hair samples? And they don't know what to do with them. Darby Orcutt, he's a professor at North Carolina State University, has just started a DNA hair analysis project sponsored by the college. There's no cost to you to turn around and send those samples in. Aleks and I have contact with Darby. We can get you hooked up. There's a simple little form that they want to take a look at where you collected everything. And I'm going to kind of go into some of the collection stuff. So when Doug turned around and took the UV light, and this picture of your hair came up pink. So I said, hey, how are we collecting things? And what we came up with, and I'll pass a couple of these around, or actually I have them up front, is our Sasquatch pink hair experiment. It has now been changed to the UV hair collection process, because as soon as I put Squatch on there, our scientist friends kind of went, we're not going to go there. But in that, there's certain kits that you need to carry with you. How many of you have sterile tweezers in your kit? A lot of folks don't have sterile tweezers. How many have your rubber gloves? Things to carry. How many are still carrying masks from COVID? Put the masks in there. So when you're doing the collection, you got your face covered. And when you go collecting, you want to put stuff in paper. Carry a notebook. Documentation is the key. If we don't document where we are, moon phases, weather phases, traffic. I have apps on my phone so I can look to see what planes are up in the sky. So if we get any other background noises, trains, all that information to go back and look at things. So when you're looking at your photographs and everything, last night I mentioned you guys to geotag your stuff. I'm not begging to get tracked, but I want to geotag my stuff so I can go back. Like last night I was sending Matt screenshots and stuff with the geotag so we could look, and he's going, yep, you're here. Having that stuff to go back and look and recreate things are going to be very important. So, evidence flags or markers. You find something, you're going to mark that area out. We have a thing in search and recovery, it's a circle search. I have my trail marker. I can put an anchor near what I found. This allows me to do a circle. And if I find something else over here, I can drop a next flag. I can now pull my pin from here, hopefully not step in my track or my hair sample. Put this down and do another one. How many people are using 3D scanning apps on their phones? There's some great 3D scanning apps. Depends on your phone. I don't suggest one over the other. I happen to be using Polycam right now because that's what works with my Android. Some of the Apples with the LiDAR work a little different, but instead of carrying all that heavy hydrocal and everything in your backpack, I go as light as I possibly can. You can get a nice little look. It's important to collect as much data. So now we found this, we found a print, we might have found that hair. You have the 3D scanning app, or you have a 360 app. How many folks take photos of the areas that you collect your evidence? A full 360 photo of everything? So if you have one of the apps, one of the room building apps that they have for scanning for real estate, you can 3D scan this. How many people carry a tape measure with them? How many people carry a cloth tape measure with them? How many have interviewed a witness and they say their color is brown? What's brown to you? What's brown to you?
Oh my God, this.
How many?
You're colorblind?
Yes. And that's just it. So
I could see brown.
But I saw a color, a shade of red. I was talking to a witness on the other side of New York State. I saw this. It was a silver, it was a gray, it was whatever. What I did is I sent him to the hardware store to get paint samples. Now I know, he tells me the box store he went to, or the brand of paint sample. I can go to my local hardware store and pull those colors to see what color he's actually, or she is actually seeing. Now, our wonderful friend Matthew here spun me along even farther and got me into the old Pantones. So now we have all these standardized colors.
Don't change name every year.
And they do. But if you can find these colors and these schemes, again, it's something I can share. I can share with Erik on the other side of New York, New Hampshire, the guys in Florida, the gang on the West Coast. It's something we can do, but it's a better way of saying it's brown, it's red, or whatever. So we've done the 3D scan. We know the trees that are in the area. We know the temperature. We know this color scheme. We know the air. Is there fog? Is there mist? It's all the data that we can collect to put in that thing. So when I put this experiment together, It's all in there. So you can build, and I can send this to you, how to go ahead and keep your own data.
All right, so I'm gonna do I'm gonna test out my saddle hunting kit. This is something that a buddy of mine, Paul Fusinski of Aptitude Outdoors / Wild Man of the Woods, he came up with this. This is what he hunts with, actually. So it's kind of a system that he made. There's a lot of saddle hunting kits out there, but this is one that he really pieced together using different components. So I'm gonna try it out, because what I'd love to do is get up into the woods tonight with the stand and just sit up there for a while. The idea is you can get 15-20 feet up in the tree possibly, and just be able to scan with a thermal, sit there, just hang out all night. Especially here in Florida where we have such a thick underbrush, it lets me get up into the tree and above that underbrush. So that's basically the whole idea behind it. So I'm gonna just shimmy my way up there. It's gonna take a little bit, so we're not gonna film the whole thing, but we'll show you kind of bits and pieces. So start with my first climbing stick I have here. And I have an 8er, which allows me to just get some extra distance. I've only got three sticks, so we'll get this guy right about chest height, chin height, so I can climb up into that. Place this guy right here. Alright, so we get this out of the way. Making sure this is pretty solidly in. Yep. So this is going to be my primary safety when I'm actually in the tree. Got a nice rock climbing rated carabiner here. So the idea is, if I were to fall, I'm never going to have this super far out. It's not going to be loose, so I don't go all the way down the tree. I want to have it basically sort of above me at all points. So the idea is, if I was to fall, it would kind of catch me there. So that's the basic idea. This tree is so flaky.
Yeah, a lot of shag bark.
So I got my tether here. What I'm going to do is try to get this a little bit above me. Because it's flaky, it's going to be a little weird with this tree, but we'll make it work. This is going to attach to my part of the belt here. So I'm now clipped in essentially into the tree with two different methods. All right, well, that's the basics. These trees are not, I can't get as good of a clamp in as I would like. That's okay. The sketchiest part for me is the actual getting up part. Once you're here, it's pretty secure.
So these are the air tags. We're going to see if they work. And the idea was, on the map that I have hanging out there, we know we have a good section of the river showing. It's a good 10 miles. Where we're at, we can easily cover about 4 square miles. When I bring up my find air tags, I've labeled these all BF1, BF2, BF3, BF4, BF5. So all I need to do tonight is assign these, like number 1 will go to you, Alex. We'll put your name on it, and I will know that 1 is you. And it shows up on my phone as BF1. The idea is, if everyone has a tag, to see if we spread out 2 to 3, 4 miles, if I can see this movement or your sit pattern on the river. If not, we can just do a photo and GPS and we can rebuild it. But the whole idea is to have a map of the corridor of one night, which is Friday tonight, between 7 and say midnight 2, however any long anybody wants to go, that we did a continuous night set. So it's almost like, I see it as a human camera trap. I've seen people talk about camera traps. I've heard Tim talk about it. And how they set cameras up where one's covered by the other camera by the other cover. We're going to be a little further apart, but it's the same principle, but with the eye tags, and to see the location along the river bank. And if we can show that continuous movement with a blinky dot, that'd be great.
Okay, cool. All right. All right, so here's a map of the area we're operating in. Matt has really gone out of his way to make this very interesting, and Matt's gone out of his way to really kind of figure this out as the map blows away. You know? All right, so here's the deal. We are going to get geared up now, going to go do a preliminary hike into the corridor, find an area to set up my saddle tree stand, scout out some locations while we still have some light. So then tonight we can go back to those very spots, and tonight is our big push into the swamp. Here's Chewie seeing a tortoise for the first time.
Should be all right. Look how white that mouth is on it.
Chewie, what do you think of it?
Chewie's good.
He's not a fan. I don't think he's a fan. Oh, there he goes.
What is that, Chewie?
Is that it making like a
It might be making a weird noise.
They do, yes. They'll go.
Chewie.
Ow. This is where we all get the sand, and Chewie goes crazy and detecting a scare.
Yeah, it was a mess.
That's shit.
We're going out now. We scouted that spot earlier. We're gonna do some deployment of teams. We've got the map kind of here. Apparently the air tag situation is not working as planned, so I don't know. We're just gonna try and hope the communication lines stay open, but we're gonna try sending teams out in twos and just break off and then keep going and kind of do it that way, spread out in sort of this field area and towards the river. So that's sort of the game plan for now, and we'll see if it changes based on anything happening. All right, so we have our team of 6 here, well, a group of 6, and we're going to split up into 3 teams of 2. Do you guys, Mike, do you want to go down kind of towards that, right?
We'll split off here on the right, and we'll just shoot down, and we'll find some spots. If we can hang out and sit for a little bit, we'll do that. Otherwise, we'll just punch down this road and see what we find.
Okay, and just let us know what you find. Mike and I, we're going to get to my stand, and then Brian and Matt.
Powers and I will find a good spot.
You guys can keep going down the way. So we'll be kind of parallel.
Are you guys passing them? We're going to keep passing.
Yeah, you guys can pass us. Just keep going down, because they'll be going towards where you guys were last night. Okay. So
Florida's going that way. Northeast is going that way.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Cool. All right, guys. All right. We'll keep in touch and see how it all crumbles.
Good luck.
Yeah. To be safe, guys.
Good. All right.
Really wish the camera could capture how misty and foggy it is right out here. It is super creepy. How's it look, guys? Looks good.
Pretty good.
Looks good? Yeah. I'm up here in the tree. Guys, want to turn your lights on for a second so I can film you with the GoPro? So they're down there. I'm up here. How high would you guys say I am up here? 16, 17 feet?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah. About 16, 17 feet. As you can see, got my platform, I got my bag up here. I've also got this branch. I can kind of walk on this if I need extra space. So I've got my thermal on me, and I'm going to be scanning out into the woods that way. well as that way you can't see it because it's all dark. This is not night vision. So yeah, so I'm up here. Mike, you're going to be hanging out down here.
Yep.
And then Max and Brian and Chewie, you guys are going to keep going down?
Keep going.
Alrighty, well, whenever you guys are ready, I'm going to just get that thermal going and I'll be up here. With the various teams in place across the corridor, so began the night. While the AirTag method to allow Matt to track each team from base camp did not work out due to technical difficulties, here is a reconstructed map of where each team was deployed, represented by the red dots seen on the map. Each team comprised of around 2 people. For some perspective about this particular area, here are 2 reported Bigfoot sightings as seen on the Bigfoot Mapping Project. Both of the reports are Class A sightings submitted to the BFRO, with one of them taking place in 2001 and the other being in 2008. So, been up here for about 40 minutes in the tree, just been scanning the whole horizon. Hadn't really seen much or heard much. We thought we were hearing back to camp people talking, but in communicating back to camp they said that it's been pretty quiet. They haven't been very loud, but it sounded like almost heard somebody talking or laughing behind me, so don't really know what to make of that, but could just be the sound traveling across these flat distances. Tree. As I sat in silence for at least another hour, scanning in intervals with the thermal on each side of me every few minutes, I noticed a very distant object on the thermal to my left, which would have been to the left of where Max and Brian had went out. As far as I'm aware, there was not any other group in that area. The thermal hit itself is very nondescript and is just a blob. Given how distant it was, though, I would have to guess it was at least something deer-sized to show up from that far away. Other than that, I can't make any guesses, as it could be a whole host of animals. It's been about 2 hours up here in the tree. One thing I saw that was interesting was an unknown thermal hit to the left of me. Something just kind of moving in the tall grass. I don't know, maybe pig-sized. Really hard to tell with the thermal in the moment, so check that out on a bigger screen and see if it's anything interesting, but it was so quick and faint. Couldn't really tell very much of what it was. But we're going to reconvene with another group of guys, and as soon as they get here, I'm going to get out of the tree and get back down to the ground. While we had made plans to link up with other groups, I began receiving messages from Brian that himself and Max had heard something large moving in the brush, and that they were hearing mumbling. Alright, Brian and Max are saying that they're hearing massive movement and weird mumbling. I can't see anything from the therm up here. I'm getting out of the tree and we're going to move towards them. Just that they're coming our way. Okay, well, out of the tree, I'm good. Pretty uneventful, Mike, right? Nothing going on for the most part.
Mosquitoes, lots of mosquitoes.
Lots of mosquitoes, so we're going to continue moving down. You see the guys over there, you can probably see their lights in the distance. I'll try to meet up with them now. See what they were kind of experiencing in the woods over here. Hey, Chewie. Hi, Chewie. Hey, buddy.
I tell you, we had a dull first hour, but that second hour, man.
What happened?
It was a crazy evening.
Am I
First
blinding
hour
you?
was slow, and we were debating, like, do you want to move? So, well, I'm skipping ahead. First we started.
Slightly.
We were hearing mumblings.
Okay.
And now he's going to attack us with a knife.
I know, I've had the knife. It's still out. Still have that. I'm gripping it.
So what exactly? So you guys heard something?
So it started with this long, low shadow that went across the road. So basically from this field to this field. Long, low, fast, smooth, not clunky movement, so I don't think it was a hog.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Like a raccoon where it's got that fat waddle
Except, yeah, it would have to have been one hell of a raccoon.
I mean, I saw something on the thermal cross that field in a bobbing motion, kind of going left, right to left.
Did you get the time? Did you mark the
Don't
time?
remember the time, no. What did you? So Chewie was what? He was freaking out.
You know, I looked down to see the movement because his ears were kind of up and his head came up, but I don't think he saw it. He didn't do much.
He didn't do much, and I was focused on Chewie. I didn't see it go across.
Okay. What about when you guys were in the woods over here and you're hearing stuff? Chewie was freaking out?
Yeah. He was lunging. He wanted to go. He was, you know how he does his went up on his hind legs, and he just wanted to go.
We skipped some stuff.
We skipped a lot of stuff, man. Just
from this road here, right? From when I was looking down towards you, saw whatever it was cross the road. Then we start to hear it was birds. We're like, that's birds chirping in the grasses. And then what? And then it started to sound more like mumbling.
Did you guys record any of this?
Yes.
Okay.
I recorded it on my bird app and we had it analyzed.
What it came up?
Homo sapien.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Dead serious.
Yeah.
So we still sat around for a while.
We sat around listening, and at one point, there was mumbling over here that was a little higher pitched.
Yep.
There was low pitched mumbling over here, and then it kind of died down.
Can I just ask a quick question? How far away did you feel it was?
Like
which direction?
It was far away when we were first sitting, where we first sat.
Yeah. Do you think there's any chance it could have been me and Mike talking?
No, because we pulled up the map. And we're like, where were they when we were hearing this?
Yeah.
Okay. And I mean, we weren't being loud. Like, I'd be like, hey, Mike, I see something in the tree. Like, we were whispering.
Well, and the other thing is, it wasn't a conversation. It was kind of what Mike described from last night.
Really?
Just kind of like that.
Yes. Yeah.
And the higher pitched one was even low for a higher pitch. Do you know what I mean? Like let's say it was a male and a female, it was a big fat female who, is on some kind of steroids.
Can you play it? I'd love to hear it.
It was so quiet that you can't.
Barely picked it up.
Through this, like the mumbling. Now we're up and listening, and it kind of dies off.
Yep.
And he's like, pretty much like, well, because sitting there listening most of the night. He's like, well, we might as well move on and see what else is up there. We looked at the map, figured,
let's go to the edge, let's just go around.
Yeah.
Right.
To where you could, the furthest you could go to stay in this area.
See anything on the thermal?
Nothing on the I put the therm away after we started walking.
Okay.
And as we're walking and talking, all of a sudden, this crashing through, just boom, 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 just crashing through the palm fronds and everything.
We came up on a tree, like a big pine tree, and from behind that pine tree on the side of the road, it was like something got up and ran.
Ran.
Because you couldn't see anything behind that tree, but whatever it was moved away from that tree damn fast.
And then stopped.
Like
and
just
then
right through the brush. And then stopped and kind of moved around back there for a little while. And then we started hearing mumbling again.
Yeah, because when that all happened, that's when I pulled, I'm like, I got to pull out my knife.
I unstrapped mine.
So you hear this thing crash, run off, and then you hear mumbling afterwards.
Then we actually hear, like, all of a sudden that loud high pitch behind us again, opposite side of the street once again.
It was chaotic because we're hearing stuff over there, and then we're hearing stuff still on the side where it ran.
Yeah.
So then we just kept going a little more, and then we're hearing baby gators.
Oh,
we're hearing there were so many. Yeah, there were a few of them to where it was like maybe a little nursery.
And that's
over
where
there.
they had seen gators earlier, so
yeah,
baby gators. So,
but the mumbling and the fast crash could have been anything. It could have been. It was up on probably like a 2-3 foot embankment. It went up a little hill, and then there was the tree, but just thick. You know how thick it is.
Oh yeah.
So we hit the beams on it, you know, and you can't see in.
There it says human, Homo sapien, but there's no real speech patterns. And those 2 bars are where Mike texted me. So those are beeps. Is that what it's considering human? But it's outside of the area that I had them review.
Yeah. If you can play that, and we can go into bird.net.
Yeah, that's what this is.
So use bird.net.
Yeah.
And you got human on that. So let's go to Merlin.
Okay. I got it up all the way. Where should we just, like, how many seconds do you want?
Go right from the end. Go right from your...
Right from the beginning, or?
Yep. Keep going. Even the beeps, too.
Can't hear any
nothing.
Mosquitoes, man.
All right, we'll take it back to camp, and we can run it through some stuff back there.
Controlled environment, maybe.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, dang. All right. Well.
So
it's kind of weird.
And I thought, oh, it's gonna come up ibis. It's gonna come up quail. It's gonna come up something.
Some kind of. Yeah.
And he's like, so, what is it? I looked down. I'm like, Homo sapien. He's like, his face was just like.
Thank God I got a German Shepherd.
Yeah.
Wow.
And for some reason, we decided to walk further into it. Get that point.
That's what you're supposed to do.
It's a killer man.
Well, let's see
Well, I wanted to see if you could see any breakage or tracks. We still didn't go into there looking for any kind of tracks.
So we got to come out tomorrow during the day.
So we got to come out. He pinned it where it happened.
Yep.
And we can just go there tomorrow.
Let's go
even
back.
maybe set
I
up
want
a
you guys
blind
to
there
talk to Mike and
night.
them, you know?
Yeah.
Because I want to do a little, and like, let's just see.
Decompress.
Compare. Yeah. Let's do that. The strange mumbling had now been heard by 2 different teams on 2 separate nights. Despite us having so many teams out during this second night, nobody else reported anything really unusual aside from the normal critters in the forest, at least to my knowledge.
Another day in the corridor. Last night was pretty interesting. Gonna have those guys talk about what they heard, but they apparently heard some weird mumbling. We'll have them relate to Mike and Christian because they had a similar thing happen last night. That'll be kind of cool to see, have them compare. I'm gonna film them doing that here in a minute. And then I think when it cools down a little bit later, we're gonna go back out to that part of the trail where they had this thing happen, just look around and maybe even take a hunting blind to set up for tonight. Tonight's gonna be our last night in the area. So I think that's kind of the plan for now. Really get out there and just look for anything circumstantial, any sort of evidence, anything that might have been left by whatever creature this might have been. Okay, so basically 2 nights in a row, you guys heard some weird stuff. I just thought if you guys want to contrast, you both talked about hearing weird mumbling, so.
Yeah, I mean, our first night was, right off the get-go. I mean, we're not expecting anything, and we weren't, we didn't roll on anything. It happened so quick, and it was just kind of shocking because, and it was so close after people were departing that we hear like footsteps, like casual footsteps, like coming through the brush. Sounded very human, other than the birds taking off, but that could have been human, someone walking through spooking the birds. Birds never made any chirping or any noises. It was like quail, and you could hear them take off in like a little
we
flock.
heard one take off. I was scared the shit out of us.
You could tell this was like at least a dozen different animals that took off at once. But then we were hearing the
crash, like casual walking, and then and it almost sounded like someone was kind of complaining about something. Like the tone of it was like they were kind of frustrated, like almost kind of like this damn brush, like we're walking through. Like like if you could actually hear it, it was just like it almost sounded like they were like airing out some kind of grievance. And it didn't sound like two people, because it was all like together. It was never like a response. It was just like someone was like talking. And then so we're so convinced, we're just like, oh, I mean, we're like looking at each other because we're freaked out because we're hearing these like loud like steps right beside us. And we're like, oh, it's just somebody walking up on us. Like, so we had the headlamps off, we're waiting, and it's very casual. It's like crunch, crunch, and we're like, here they come. Like we I wish we would have rolled on. But we weren't expecting it to be anything other than people, so we weren't like rolling.
We talked ourselves out of it.
We totally did.
I put my GoPro away. I put my stuff away, and I'm like,
we're just like sitting there with our lamps off, like waiting for someone to come around the corner, and you could hear them like crunch, crunch, and then like a third time it was like, and then we heard like another crunch, and then that was the end of it. And we were just like, what just happened?
Yeah.
I mean, what was that? I mean, we were still convinced 100% it was a human being.
What was going through your guys' minds? Because you had already heard their stories yesterday.
When he was telling his story, I'm like, yeah.
Well, now,
yeah.
What was going through before? Yeah. Like, honestly, Mike and his bird apps and his, Googling everything, and after you told your story, and I still had the ibises fresh in my mind now.
Yeah.
A group of ibises up in the green swamp.
And they do make some very interesting noise.
They make a mumbling sound.
Like a
there's a group
crackling, mumbling.
Yeah. So it's not at all that I didn't believe you guys. It's just that one of the things I do is try and figure out what else.
I'm not even sure I believe me.
Well, you second guess. You second guess.
Yeah,
what you heard.
I don't know what
it was. Because it was so odd.
Yeah.
It kind of send your brain on a little loop.
But
what is that?
But also, like, I was so intrigued by it that I even made him. I was like, okay, what did you hear? It sounded like, well, we both were talking about, is that somebody talking? Like, we were having that conversation together, like, that's somebody talking. But then once it was over, I was like, what did you hear? And he's like, mumbling. I said, tell me, like, do it, like, make the sound that we heard. And he's like, we were just like that.
I feel like I was being interrogated.
No, I was like, I want to make sure you heard the same thing that I heard. Like, if you heard like an actual word and I'm not, then maybe I'm just going deaf, and maybe you heard like someone actually saying something.
I was fully convinced that it was one of you guys coming up.
Yeah. Because the trail went around, and it sounded like somebody was like trying to make their way through this.
It sounded like
to
a
the
cassette
trail.
tape that was on its last legs, and then done.
It was very like bassy, heavy,
like slowed down. So you couldn't understand the language.
It's weird.
The syllable.
I kind of equated to your parents watching like Carson in the other room when you're a kid.
Yeah.
You know it's a conversation going on.
Like you're straining, like you're literally like straining
Yes.
because you can hear syllables, and you're like, that's language. Like someone's saying something. I'm just like, I can almost kind of hear what they're saying. It's driving me crazy. Like, but I was telling Alec, like it sounded like it just sounded like somebody was like airing out a grievance. It was just like they were like upset about something.
Because we were hearing different birds all night, but that was different. That was different.
So you heard it, and at first you were just like, "Oh, it's birds."
It was faint at first.
It was faint.
It was
faint.
coming
up,
and
I had birds on my mind.
Are you guys hearing footsteps that correlated with it, or
no?
There was some movement.
We got that. I told him about the
the
jolt, the thing that just was something behind a tree and just bolted as we came up on it.
But even as we were like listening to the noise, there was something was moving out there. But I mean, this place, there's animals everywhere. I didn't see a darn one of them, but there's animals
I'm just glad
everywhere.
someone heard what we heard. That way we don't sound like we're crazy.
So in all honesty, while we were having our conversation about it yesterday, I had birds on the brain. You know how Mike was sitting there on a computer? The whole time he's Googling like
birds?
ibis noise, group of ibis, because we both wanted to know what the hell this was. And now, I don't know what the hell it was.
Yeah. And I'm pretty
really
familiar.
don't.
I mean, I've been in Florida for quite some time, and I see ibis. As a matter of fact, I got some video of ibises on my phone right now.
This was not ibises.
No.
And now I know that.
And I know they're very kind of like a crackling. I mean, it's a very, if you don't know what an ibis sounds like, it is very like, what is that? Because they make some really strange, low pitch, kind of crackling, and then it goes from low to high. I can't duplicate it, but I mean,
and that's funny because that's what we were talking
up.
about. How many mistakens have there been with people with the barred owls that have never heard a barred owl?
Yeah,
you're gonna think
it's
that's a squatch.
Yeah,
if you don't know that's
even
barred owl.
last night, like we heard what sounded like a stereotypical squatch call, except it wasn't. But it started off as this.
I think I heard that at one point.
Yeah,
and I was like,
out.
"Oh, it's a bard," and because Mike couldn't hear anything down on the ground as I was in the tree, and I'm like, "Oh, barred owl." But at first, I was like, "Huh?"
I know, but it was 100% an owl, but it did that what you hear on recordings where it started off where it's like,
yeah,
and then it went off into its barred owl thing, and I was like frozen. I was like, holy shit, what
yeah.
did you hear? Like it sounded like a squatch call.
It's exciting at first, because
like,
your mind's trying to process it,
Yeah.
and then until you finally say, okay, this is what it is, because you have a reference for it. But you guys didn't have a reference for mumbling other than what they told you.
Other than what they, but at first there was, it was birds. There.
Yeah, right.
When you heard
then,
it, were you like, did you think back to what we were telling you?
We were actually saying, man, I wish we would have something happen to those guys.
Yeah, we had just said that.
We're like, because this
this
sucks. So we're saying that.
You spoke it into existence.
Yeah,
and we're like, shit.
and
I'm like,
funny
that's
enough,
what Matt was talking about yesterday. How he's thinking all this stuff, and then it happens.
Our night last night wasn't even crickets, man. I mean, it was like your typical night that you go out and it's like you hear an owl. We heard crashing in the wood, but clearly it was small game.
Right.
We never saw anything that we heard crashing, but it never even raised my alarm at all. We were just like that.
Yeah. We
That's
saw
a deer.
nothing. We didn't even see the palm fronds move. Nothing. We just heard it gone.
Yeah.
Crew's heading out. We're gonna go check out that spot where Max and Brian had a weird mumbling incident, we'll call it that. The Mad Mumbler.
The mumbling. That's a good name.
The mumbling. Yeah. We're gonna go check it out.
Spot peanuts then?
See if there's anything over there. Just anything we can find. Some more hog hair.
You know, we're talking about, you're not seeing any pink or anything on there. It's all kind of the blue.
Yep.
Yep. And then same here. So, but, you know, messing around, we know we got hog in this area.
And we were possibly hearing them last night, unless that was a frog. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, you know, the first one, I had to pull the extra hearing boost out, but we got a good game shot through there.
Coming right through there. Right into here. Look at this.
Yep.
Boom. Right into there. Okay, so where are we at?
This is where we were right about here talking, and where we started to hear the crash, something run away as soon as we got to right here.
In the shrubs.
And you can see the path.
So this is where you guys got a little nervous over here?
This is where the crashing. We heard something running as we were coming right through here.
We were that close to it, so when something pops up 10 feet
Oh,
away.
you good, dude?
So
Sound like that?
Way louder.
Oh, I thought you...
it was way louder than that.
Way louder.
But
Really?
yeah.
Someone run through real quick. We'll do an experiment.
Boom, boom, boom.
I'm running
No,
through
he
that
doesn't.
snake
No one
country.
wore snake.
No one has.
You don't have snake guards. So you didn't hear the mumbling here, right?
So, I mean, it was a big commotion. And we focused on this, the two of us standing there with our knives drawn and white knuckles. Mostly because, you know, if it was a boar,
Yeah.
pig, whatever,
Hog.
hog, whatever you guys call them down here, I don't want that thing coming out at me.
No.
Especially from this distance. You don't have enough, in 8 feet, you don't have enough reaction time to get out of the way. So we had our knives pulled for that, I'm sure. Because I'm not going to stab Bigfoot either, because he would, you know, pound me into the ground probably. So as we're like talking about this, he's controlling Chewie because Chewie wants to get at something.
Yeah.
No, he was doing
up on his, just trying to get him, like the turtle, like when he saw the turtle.
Yeah.
So we spent a little while talking about it. And it wasn't that long after. I mean, we were
It
probably right over in
quieted
that
down after
bald
the
spot.
crashing. It quieted down,
Yeah.
and
that's when the mumbling started.
then we hear the mumbling. Yeah.
Like.
So this is where the mumbling started as well.
Nope.
No.
No.
The mumbling started over there.
Over there?
It
You mean
died
back
off.
there?
Back
Back
where
where
we
we
had been
So
sitting.
behind
initially
us here.
started
Okay, yeah.
on that other trail, the
Right.
trail you guys were on, that we went further down, and we sat for over an hour and a half,
An hour and a
over
half.
Yeah.
Before
Yeah.
we got up because of the shadow that crossed the trail.
Right.
Now, granted, he already did the bird app. We did the bird app on that trail.
The bird app was on that trail over there. I was gonna do the bird app here when these things started,
There
but
was so much going on.
Yeah. I mean, you had rustling in the bushes, you had gators, you
Gators.
had the mumbling. Oops. And then as we're looking at this and as we're talking about, oh my God, that's the mumbling again, back over this way, we hear a high pitch. It was almost a whoop, right?
Yes.
And
yes.
then the high pitch mumbling behind us starts. So this side we got kind of a almost a cousin it kind of thing.
Yes.
But a little deeper. And then on this side we got the low pitch mumbling. And we listened for a while, talked about it, discussed it. We texted you guys saying, hey, this is going on.
And the heart rate's going as all this is going on. But we're keeping composed and just kind of waiting to see what's going to happen.
And I've never seen anyone text so well with like a knife in their hand either. That was good. No, really, I'm impressed.
And a leash.
But then, you know, after texting you guys, things started dying down, and then there was nothing but gators.
The gators, when we got to the end, we're hearing the ooh, ooh, ooh,
Yeah.
ooh. We're hearing all the baby gators over there.
Mm.
Multiple.
Just be careful.
I fly the
I'm only going in
Yeah,
here
fly
because
it.
we experienced this. If it was someone else that experienced this, I wouldn't go in for them.
Yeah.
So, like, honestly, this seems to be the spot that's got the most trampled down underneath.
Right in there.
And,
You can see that trail there.
well,
But I mean,
if you're about here, you can see all the way up to the next
I mean,
trail.
you're
that
right
that
at a
will go
fork.
to.
but
too.
how when it ran off, how close did it sound when it was initially by you guys? Like
We
right in
were-
here?
Oh, yeah.
10
okay.
feet
Oh, it
over
was
there.
loud.
Okay.
And it started from this point.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
I mean, there's a little bit of a game trail right here. I don't know. I wouldn't call it a game trail. I'd call it.
Something went through.
Yes. Right there. You see that?
Yeah, and that's exactly where
Yeah.
we
Right in
pointed.
there.
if you look, it goes right past that pine.
It goes right in out here. I mean, you try to just move over there. It's so difficult. Try to run right now from here to that tree line without tripping, falling, getting exhausted, making a fool of yourself. Go ahead.
and if you get bit,
Yeah.
you got to carry yourself fast.
I mean, it's just, but my point is it's ridiculous. This is a hard area to move through. But the hogs, I guess, are so low they just bulldoze through everything.
Well, yeah, that's what I was getting at. It was that it's like, yeah, it's difficult to run, but it's also difficult to stay quiet.
Yeah,
You know, like,
exactly.
if
That's
something
why
was
what they,
trying to-
well, what these guys heard was, you know, something bulldozing through the,
Yes.
Through
this
the
brush,
palmetto,
through
yeah.
this brush, this type of brush.
It's loud.
It's our last night out here. Camp is thinned out. Brian's here. What do you think, Brian, last night?
What do you think?
I mean, I think there's way less people now. I mean, you think about it, there's almost 20-something people when
20
we started
something
out.
down to what? 12?
We've got, yeah, we've got 5-6 cars.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. The whole place is empty. Breezy night. It's cool. I feel like it'd be a good night to move around.
Yes.
I think I want to head out there. I don't
I
know.
want to.
I mean, I like the idea of sticking around, see if something happens,
too.
but
I'm with you too. I mean, when are we going to be down here again?
yeah, right.
Yeah. So
I think we should try it.
I would.
You know, even if everyone else stays here, you and I can go and find a spot with that blind and just sit.
And it's calling for rain. If
Yeah.
there's rain, we got the blind.
Yeah, we can
We're
just
dry.
sit there. Yeah.
Yeah, and just sit there and just
I'm
listen.
down for that.
Yeah. All right.
All right, we're gonna go now. Brian and I are going to set up the blind, find a place to hang out for a little bit and just kind of see what we can see.
Yeah.
Hang out for a few hours.
See what kind of wild comes to us.
Oh yeah. Well, Matt's joining us out here for the night. What are you rocking, Matt? You got your thermal set up?
Bushnell 2, night vision.
And you have a dead cat on your head, right?
I do.
Squirrel, but
So dead squirrel tail. What are you running audio-wise?
H1N.
H1N, so that's where the mic is, and you have it hooked up on headphones?
And I got it in earbuds, and
Yeah.
it is, I can hear everything, dude.
That's awesome. All right, so Brian and I are almost back at the intersection where we're going to set up the 360 hunting blind. And this is right where you guys would have heard the mumble last night.
Yes, numerous mumbles, not just one mumble.
Right. Hi, Chewie. All right, well, we're in the blind here. We've got tripod. We're gonna have thermals aiming out. We've got a couple different directions we can aim out, and just sort of hunker down, roll some audio, see how things go from there. So we'll keep you updated as to how it goes in here.
We've been settled in here for just a little under an hour. It's been an hour already. A little under an hour. And I was hearing some movement to my left. Nothing major. We're gonna have the rest of the guys are gonna come by and see if they can't push anything kind of towards us. But other than that, slight movements are pretty quiet. So we're just kind of scanning the whole area.
Oh God. Well, started raining in here. We've had Erik join us. It's a little tight in here, but Chewie, you got a big thing of grass on your head, dude. He had this on his head, look at it. It's just like this, like that, literally.
Oh, so cute.
Keep it in there.
Oh gosh.
I'm getting this audio off.
Damn.
Oh.
Yeah, it's coming in a little, but
Coming right in through this mesh.
I didn't want to end the night being soaked, man. Hopefully
It's coming, something's coming through the ceiling too.
Yep.
Oh yeah, look, right around the seam.
Poor Chewie. He's like, I'm done with you guys.
I should have gone back with them guys.
I know.
As soon as it started raining, I was like, raining! Embrace the sun.
All right.
It's gotten even worse. We're just losing it here.
Embrace.
We're losing it, man. Everything's leaking out of the sides.
It's like I'm hoping for that poncho to appear when I'm digging in here and it's not. Nope. Not a thing. But if we need to start a fire tonight.
Great.
Oh my god.
It's so poor Chewie's all wet. This is nutty. This is just nuts. Okay, the rain appears to have stopped momentarily. So we're gonna try to lift this guy over and just get the heck out of here.
Please don't get wet.
Hold on, I'll push the top and then one more on the other side to pull.
Okay, I gotta.
All right, we'll just make sure we have everything, right?
Just get that. Oh, jeez. Jeez Louise, man, this medium isn't supposed to be wet. Okay. Somehow we made it. Somehow. I think we're gonna say a wrap on this one. Wow. That didn't really go our way, did it? All right, Matt. Well, here we are. The event is coming to a close. What are your thoughts now after having done this kind of idea that you've wanted to implement for a while?
I think it went really well, and I'm floored that so many of you came to help and help me with this project, and just to see vet the area and show you, hey, is the corridor, is it legit for something like that? It's almost like, to me, I see it as a safe zone that these things, animals in general, would know that they can go to. And as encroachment happens, it's probably just taking these small forests and pushing more animals back through the corridor. I think that's what we're seeing. Just putting an eye on it and vetting the legitimacy of, could this be happening? Could this be an area? That was number one. Number two was bringing enough people in to basically do a human kind of camera trap, but basically not moving and just sitting, and maybe have a group walking through it. So I think at one point we pretty much always had someone walking and moving, which I think is good, because it's kind of like a distraction.
Almost all times it seems like there was a group of people out somewhere in this area.
This trip was for, get some help. I didn't know if, I was expecting 6-8 people. And then they said, yo, you can do a group camp. So we got 25, have the whole camp, and so you guys are the stars. I appreciate everybody's help.
It was a really noble effort. Not a lot of stuff like this is going on anymore, I don't think, in this topic. It's become so off the rails.
Yeah.
In terms of just the AI, everything. It's so easy to fake a story and have it online, and there's very few people out there that are really doing this kind of effort, especially in an area that's a choke point. I think with some of the wildlife encounters we had out here of known creatures, as we've been talking about, it's a funnel. Things have to move through here. If there is something in the area, logically it would have to move through here. And I think that was the point of why you want to do this, and I think it's a great thought experiment, if anything else.
I challenge you to go 7 miles on this river and have a day and get back and say that was easy. It's not designed for access. There may be a neighborhood over there, or 4 miles down the road, but they can't butting this. But you can't go in the neighborhood right into the corridor. You have to come down to a park and walk 3 miles to get anywhere you want to get. Mm-hmm. It's like it's controlled, like they make it painful to really explore it.
Yeah.
So it's a challenge, and it's taken a couple years. So I think we got it figured out.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having us. And
I appreciate it.
It was a great effort, man.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
And there you have it. Another journey has concluded. Overall, everybody involved would tell you it was a worthwhile effort. We shared ideas, tips, and techniques, and probably best of all, shared the adventure, memories, and the many laughs. Are there skunk apes using this corridor? That is still to be seen. We won't know for certain unless we actually get out there and look for ourselves.